Well, that was a super dramatic intro, I know. But I really wanted to drive home exactly how working with Freyja makes me feel. I feel like I captured that pretty well. I wanted to kind of share those emotions with you guys. Hello, welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Allison and I talk about paganism and spirituality. So this video is going to be kind of FAQ / me telling you guys about how I met Freyja and what it's like for me working with her. Let's jump into it. I met Freyja when I was meditating on a log in the middle of the woods. I had my eyes closed. I was taking deep breaths by myself. And all of a sudden I felt this gust of wind blow my hair back. I snapped open my eyes and I saw a hawk on the ground right in front of me. This hawk had a piercing gaze and it stared at me for what felt like too long, honestly. And while this hawk was staring at me and I was staring at it, I felt this presence of a woman, like a strong warrior woman. And I never, before ever looked at animals and was like, oh yeah, that chipmunk is a woman. No, I've never felt a feminine presence from an animal without knowing its actual gender. When that experience was over, I rushed home and began doing a bunch of research. I was looking up things like hawk experiences, feminine energy hawk experiences, stuff like that. I was looking on Google, Reddit, YouTube. I realized that other people were having similar experiences. Just looking at the hawk in the woods, I didn't think that was Freyja originally. Like I said, I just felt that strong female warrior presence. Doing this research, finding other people who had similar experiences really helped me put together what exactly I had experienced. Where did your relationship go from the initial meeting? Well, after the initial meeting, I started doing research on how to connect to the gods because I wanted to experience her again and talk to her, and maybe ask her, why she was in the forest. I don't know. So I researched and I found out that the ancestors did a lot of meditation to reach out to the gods. So I followed in the footsteps of the Norse pagan ancestors and I started doing a lot of meditating. I downloaded an app called Headspace and I used it every day to basically adapt a habit of meditating, and not just that, but learning how to do it right. And then once I was confident in my meditation skills and my ability to get into that state on my own, I started to reach out to Freyja while I was meditating. It actually took a while for her to show herself to me again. It was actually when I was reaching out to gods in general. I was just kind of meditating and I was kind of doing a little bit of shadow work, and I was expressing insecurities that I have, and the insecurity that I was bringing up in that moment was the fact that I wasn't strong physically. I felt small and weak, and that is when I felt Freyja's energy again. I felt that same feminine warrior energy, and so I knew that she was there, she was back. I heard her say just 4 little words, and that was, "So don't be weak." That's all she said. So don't be weak. And that's when I started weightlifting. Is Freyja your patron? I actually had to look up what patron meant. I'm not actually familiar with that term. I wouldn't say that Freyja is my patron. I wouldn't say that I even have one or I'm looking for one. Personally, I think that, you know, I put all the gods on equal pedestals and they all have something to teach us. They're all mentors in their own way. What is the best way you found to connect with Freyja specifically? There's actually two ways that I personally connect with Freyja, and that is when I am pushing myself into almost overexertion. That might be running or at the gym, when I'm weightlifting, when I'm doing so much that I'm almost to the point of exhaustion. That is when I kind of feel Freyja's presence and she's like, okay, you've done great, you know, let's go inside and have some tea or whatever. Or she's like, keep going, you can do this. And the other way that I'm able to connect with Freyja is through sexual positivity. I think, you know, for a lot of women, it's kind of hard to be sex positive if you've been brought up or raised or, you know, you've been around a certain environment. And when I'm working on being more open and sex positive and being free and letting myself experience things and feel things and feel good, I feel her energy's there as well. Do you see her often? I would say yes, I do. I would say I see her more often than any of the other gods anyway. Wow, that cooled down quick. It's sweater weather again in New England. Kind of. Is Freyja and Frigg the same person? So personally, I don't think Freyja and Frigg are the same person. When I experience Frigg, I see her more as quiet and watching and listening. Kind of, you know, the unseen magics, the unknown knowledge. She's very low-key and mysterious. And I haven't actually had many experiences with her at all. With Freyja, she is pretty loud and outspoken, honestly. She commands to be known, basically, or commands to be seen. So I personally don't feel like they're the same person. That being said, that's just my experience, and it's 100% up to you to decide that for yourself based on your own experiences with them. How do you show your commitment to Freyja? So I wouldn't actually say that I'm committed to Freyja. I wouldn't call it a commitment or anything that has ties. I haven't even taken an oath to her or actually any of the gods for that matter. But I do frequently leave offerings at the outdoor altar that I made specifically for her to show my gratefulness and my thanks for everything that she does for me. What does Freyja look like to you? Ooh, that's a good question. What does Freyja look like to me? I wouldn't say that I even see Freyja. I wouldn't even say that she looks like anything to me. That might sound weird, but her presence is an energy, really. I just feel her. I don't actually ever see her. And when I do see some sort of image, it's that hawk's eye that I originally saw in the woods. So I don't actually see a woman or anything like that. But that's actually a really good question, and I'm really curious to know if there's any of you out there who work with Freyja or have had experiences with Freyja. How do you see her? Let me know in the comments, because I really want to know. I want to know what you guys perceive her as, or what she appears to you looking like. What has Freyja taught you or helped you with? So I love this question, and I narrowed it down to 3 categories: strength, sensuality, or sexual positivity, sex positivity, and also magic. As I said earlier, Freyja came to me when I was expressing that insecurity of weakness, and told me, don't be weak. So I have been routinely exercising, working out, weightlifting, and getting stronger. She reminds me why I'm doing this, because of that insecurity that I did feel a while back, where I was small and helpless. So she's constantly a good reminder of that, and constantly tells me to push myself further to that point of almost overexertion. Because, you know, overexertion is not healthy. We don't want to actually get to that point, but getting almost there, you know you've worked your absolute hardest, that's a good feeling. That's a really good feeling. So, sensuality and sex positivity. These are 2 topics that are not so much taboo anymore in 2021. Women are taking back their sensuality. It's not uncommon to have grown up in an environment where you are, you know, told to dress modestly because you don't want to distract the boys, no wearing spaghetti straps, falling into this whole idea of, you know, working how you look around what will make men happy. And even going as far as to truly believe that, you know, sex and pleasure is only for men. And it's not, obviously, but it's easy as a young woman to kind of fall into that sort of mindset, because that's what you're surrounded by. And it's easy to repress that sensual side of you because, you know, you're told that it's not okay for a woman to be that way, for a woman to be promiscuous, or whatever you want to call it. Freyja really helped me in this area of my life. And if you know, read stories about her, it kind of makes sense. She is the goddess of love and fertility, and we all know the story of the dwarfs. It's not a bad story. It's kind of a funny one. But yeah, she has been great in that area of my life. So I really have to thank her for that. The last area she helps me in is divination, or magic in general. I have been struggling trying to learn the runes. It's not easy. And sometimes I just don't even feel like I'm ready or even worthy. But again, I feel her presence in that area, placing her hand on my shoulder, telling me to keep going, keep learning, keep studying, keep feeling what the runes mean to me. I haven't actually done any divination work yet. Again, I feel like I'm just not that ready for it. And that's totally personal and up to the practitioner. But having Freyja there by my side, helping me through it, has been good. Last question. What is your main goal to achieve with Freyja? That is a good question, and a personal one at that. So, if you follow me on Instagram, you know that I am in the military. I pride myself on being strong, emotionally and physically, and fit to fight. I think of myself as a shield maiden. I protect myself, my family, my loved ones, my friends, my country, or the people who reside in the country is what I like to say. That being said, we all know that warriors go to Valhalla, but not all warriors go to Valhalla. Some warriors get to go to Freyja's Hall in Folkvang. I think it's called Sessrumnir. I hope I pronounced that right. When that inevitable does happen, I want to be lifted up by Freyja and brought to her hall in Folkvang. So yeah, that's all I have. I answered 10 questions. I know there was a lot more than that, but I didn't want to make an extremely long video. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like. If you enjoy my content and want to see more of the educational and spiritual content that I have to offer, hit subscribe. I usually upload weekly. Sometimes it takes a little longer than that because, you know, I do have a full-time job and I'm also a full-time college student, so don't come at me if it takes like a week and a half, 2 weeks to get a video out. Thanks for watching. I love you guys are awesome, and I'll see you in the next video. Skål!